Good evening everyone, thank you so much for joining us for these video tutorials and how to make on a shirt. And for today I'll just go ahead and introduce what we have because it's very important. It's some kind of materials that you have because different people have different skills and different process on how to design the shirt. But right now I'm just gonna go ahead and just go straight to the point. You can use laminating paper. You see it has a lot of it's basically used to laminate like certificates and different stuff like that, but it's what I use to be able to cut out the stencil of what I want on my shirts. And you can go to a store, and I think you can be able to get that at Walmart or anywhere like that. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is the kind of paints that you're going to use. I use this Galleria Crimson as one of my colors, and that's what I use because I like to paint a lot of sunset. The Galleria, Winsor, and Newton, that's one of my products that I really like. It's an acrylic paint. I have different colors right here, and other things that I use to because I don't really want to spend a lot of money on black paints, so I use this Blake Relic. That's what they call it. It's an economic acrylics polymer. It's very cheap. You can get at Walmart and some other places like that. And I have the white one also. And right now, another thing that I use is this high gloss varnish. It actually gives a lot of shiny and nice texture to your work after you're done. And another thing is very important. You can't do without it. It's an iron. You need an iron. As an artist, you can't do without those brushes. You can't do without it. So, and I use this also. It's like a gum stick. So you're gonna see what I'm gonna use it for. You can get it at Walmart. But anyways, another thing that you have to do, it's having your shirt, because you have to get something to be able to work your stuff on. So just for the tutorial purpose, I've already cut out my design on what I'm gonna do on the shirts. This is an African map. And that's what I'm trying to design on this. I'm trying to, design on this shirt, and I'll show you how you can do it. The reason why I'm going to do it this way is for you to really understand that even though you don't know how to draw, you can still paint on the shirt. So I'll go ahead right now and use the scissors. That's what I'm going to do because I just want my stuff to be an A4 because depending on the size of the shirt that you're trying to produce. I'm producing on a large shirt. So, because I don't want my designs to be more larger than the scale of my shirts. So right now I'm going to cut into two. Then when I cut into two, I'm going to place it on this A4 paper of the lamination paper that I got. You can see it has a clear face, and in the back, that's where you actually have the lines and stuff, just like a paper, backward. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this to two right now. And just because I know how to draw, but just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm gonna go ahead and just put my shirt and fold it aside and put it on one side. And you can see I can adjust it and cut it to the size of that A4. That's the clear sticker. So I'm gonna put it right in the front just to see that it's been aligned together. So I'll go ahead and pick up my gum stick. That's where we're going to use this. We're going to put a gum stick. Actually, let me go ahead and make sure that I cut this to create more space for my cut for the stencil, because I don't really need a lot of papers like that. So I'll put those aside right now. Then you can see I'll just go ahead and put the gum stick at the back of the paper. Use this board. So what I'm going to do next right now is just go ahead and place it in front of the sticker. You can see it stick with it right now. So just because, for those who don't know how to draw at all, this is just like an easy process for them. So when you place it in front of the sticker, then what you got to do is you grab your X-Acto knife which I apologize, I forgot to mention that earlier when I was introducing all the materials that you need. You need this too, because this Acto knife is really important. You got to have it, because if you want to cut out a good stencil, you need this. Some of them come with a different type of blade, but I love to use this this 11, it's size 11 Acto knife. You know, you can separate it if you want, and you can put different sizes of an Acto knife that you want it to replace. You can just twist it, and that's how you fix that. So we'll go ahead right now and just cut out our stencil. It's gonna be a very easy, cut. And when you're cutting out your stencil, you gotta be very careful because you don't want to miss the lines of exactly what you're trying to cut. And another important thing that I have to say is that when you're cutting stuff like this, make sure you don't cut it on your mom's tables or the dining table, because she's gonna be so mad. Yeah, and you don't want that. You don't want your mom to be mad. I'm cutting it on top of this table because it's an axe table. We cut stuff on it. I just finished cutting on my African map right now. You can see. So I've already cut out the main map. So I have to cut out the little island on the side, because some people think Africa is just a country. This is a continent, and they have an island too. We got water, So we're gonna go ahead and cut that island. Go ahead and just remove the white piece of paper where my design was first, just to really see if everything looks perfect. You can see on top of my stencils right now, it looks exactly how I want it, and this is an African map. So the next thing you do is pick up your shirts, and whichever one you're trying to make a design on, spread it on top of the table. And you place it wherever you want it. Some people might want to place it right here, but I like to center my design at the middle of my shirts. So, and magic. You see it? I told you about a clear space that it has. You see, this is the magic right here, and you gotta be careful when you're separating it, because this screen paper right here is so light, so it can destroy the design you did. So, and you can say this is the paper, that's the back of it. I'm gonna put it on the side, and this is exactly what is gonna create that design. This is the most important thing on this design right now, because without this, everything's gonna be messed up. So we have to place that in front of our shirt on its exact spot that we want it. And you're just gonna use your hand and just dab it and press it down to be able to stay where you want it. And if it doesn't, if you don't place it in the same place that you want it, or you just thought about, no, I don't want it in that spot, just be careful, take it off, so you can just straighten up your shirt and readjust it to your to your preferred spot that you want it. So when you do it like that, you leave it, and this is when this iron comes in. Plug the iron to the light, and we iron it. So on the ironing pad, this is what you really need: iron, and again, you need a piece of shirt, 100% cotton, that you're gonna place on top of your design, and you have to just know exactly what it is, and you play on top of a design, because if you put the iron straight on top of a design, it's gonna melt the piece of papers in front of it. So you have to, the paper bag in front of it. So you have to just go ahead and apply this gently, and you go around it. So you put the heat on it. That's the heat is what is gonna transfer and gum the paper right in front of the shirt. So you just go ahead and do that. You can place the iron on the side and check it out and see how it's doing. And right now it seems that we still need more heat to it. So we're gonna go ahead and cover that. So you check that off, and I think we're pretty ready for it. You can see the design. Everything is being transformed on top of it right now. So we're gonna go ahead and just get ready to paint. So the next step right now before the painting is that's why I grabbed this paper, right, this big piece of book. You know, I actually use it to mix paint and stuff like that, but I can use it right now just for this tutorial purpose. What I'll do is that you grab this and you place it right under your shirt. If you don't do that, then the paint is gonna leak through your shirt, and it's gonna you know, mess up the shirt in the back. So you don't want that. So you have to just put that just to support it in the back to separate the piece of clothes. So the next thing we're gonna do right now, we're gonna apply the paint. Go ahead and whitewash my I'll apply the base right now. And before I do any paintings at all, I usually use white base for my shirts. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the white paint on a piece of board or paper or anything like that. And just for this purpose of these tutorials, I'm gonna just go ahead and use this piece of paper. You can use that too in case you don't have like a shoulder pad or a foam or something like that you can use. But foam is highly, you know, recommended if you want to have a very good result. So I'll go ahead and get some piece of paint, not too much. Just make sure that you don't want it to just run through your shirt. So you go ahead and apply it to the design, just right in front of the design that you cut out, which is the African map. You go ahead and do that gently, apply to it with not too much pressure to it. Just apply it around. And be careful when you're doing this, because you don't want the paints to stain the shirts that you're trying to design on, because it will just mess up your shirt. And it's an acrylic paint. It dries really fast. It's not like an oil painting. It dries really fast, and it's very hard to get off your shirt. You can't even get it off. So now that we get our design on top of the shirts, we're gonna leave it for a little bit to get dry, because you can't do anything right now. You have to let it dry first. And after you let it dry, that's when you're gonna go ahead and apply whatever color that you want on top of it. Now that you get your design ready and everything is dried up, as you can see when you put my hands on top of the design right now, there's no paint on it. It's not gonna show on your hands, so you can see everything is dried up. And that's when the design comes in. Then you think about, okay, I mean, you've already made a template though right from the beginning. How exactly you want it to look like? That's what I said. I want my design to look like a sunset. So what color is going to give me a sunset? That's when exactly you need to know the kind of the techniques you're going to use, and the kind of you know, you got to visualize how your design is going to look like. Just because I want just a design on the shirt, it doesn't automatically just, you know, get you the design you want. So you have to think about it, you know, the paints and the colors that you're going to put together. So right now, what's going to give me sunset? A sunset can be created in so many ways, but definitely you know that a sunset has yellow in it, it has reds in it, and it also have white. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my black paint and put a little bit of it on a paint board. I'm actually using a cardboard right now, so if you don't have a paint board, you can just improvise And the next thing I'm gonna put my crimson red paint on the side too. Put it on the board. And I have my yellow. I use yellow deep hole cadmium yellow. That's what I use because I just love it, because see, it just kind of brings up my work a lot. It makes it really pretty. That's what I love to use, this yellow. I don't just use any kind of yellow. So cover that up and put it on the side. And then I'll get my titanium white. You know, it's kind of hard. It's been a while that I use it. Then you put that also on the side. Cover it up. Even this paint right now, they're even too much for me. You know, say it's too much for me right now. But I'm just gonna just for this purpose, and we'll go ahead and use it. So then you pick up your brush. So, and this is when all these paintings and everything needs to come in. So the next thing we need to do right now is, you know, this is our design, and then we have to think about what we're gonna do. So I have a bowl of water right here too, and a piece of cloth that I'm gonna use to wipe my brush whenever I'm doing my design. So right now we're just gonna go ahead and start with the design. So let's just pay attention and follow me as I'm gonna do it. So right now, because I want to design a black, it's sunset design, I want the whole round of my design, you can see this whole round right here to be black, to be dark, and it's going to gradually lighten up to the middle of the map. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and put that the black paint around my African map. And you gotta be really quick with this because acrylic paint dries really quick. And the brush and clean it up. Then when I get that, and I wipe it up on the shirts, on the piece of clothes that I have, to wipe away the color. And the next thing that I do is I'm gonna grab my red paint, the red crimson, and put it right after the black. You're not gonna mix it up yet. So you take it all around it. You wash it up in the water and clean it. And this is when the blending of the design comes in. Then you take your time. What I usually do, I'm just gonna go to the middle of the paint, you see, and wipe it off, and just kind of blend it. Wipe it off. And the next thing I'm gonna do right now, just blend it up a little bit. Just round around it to create that effect on it. So you get the red around it again. You put the reds in it, and so the next color you're gonna use to join it right now, it's gonna be the yellow. You put the yellow around in the middle of the paint too. As you can see, it's beginning to look more like a sunset. So we're going to go ahead and blend that a little bit just to create the effect that we actually need. And what I like to do most of the time, I just use like more. I put water on the brush and make sure that I spray it out. Go back to where I've already painted, because they stay pretty wet right now, so it's easy to just manipulate and just walk around it. More yellow to it right here. And blend it. Just swing the brush back and forth. I need a little black in this hand right here, so I'll just add black to that, just to show the edges. I think it's time for me to go ahead and add the white color to the middle. See? I want my white color to kind of spread out at the top a little bit, and then go all the way down like that. You can put a little white in the middle too, just to give him a little effect, like a sunny effect kind of. I'm gonna go ahead and make just a little design in the middle, which is very simple. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. Get some paint on my brush and spray it out. And I'm just gonna create like a line between my design across. And I'm just gonna shade it a little bit, just to create some kind of reflections and see. And also make a pantry around here. Make some kind of details, just depends on how you want it. So that's about it, and that's how you design. You can see the little design that I did on it, so it's just kind of create the African map right now. And the next thing we're going to do is just to wait for it to get dried. Then after it's dried, we can just go ahead and take off the stencil on top of it. So you can see that our design is ready. But right now, to get the finished product, to make it shine and make it, last longer, that's when I'm going to use this High Glow Vanish. It's Liquitex, and you can also mix it with water, but I would advise you not to mix it with water because this is just a perfect condition. So I'm just going to put it in a little cover cup, just a little bit because I won't be using a lot. I'm just trying to use it just for the purpose for these tutorial. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to it. We're just going to spread it across the paint. The African map that we just created. So we're just gonna spray it out. You can see because our design is dried already, so it didn't affect anything at all. So we're just gonna spread it across it. You can add as much as you want. Like for me, I usually put a lot to it because as much vanish, eyeglass vanish that I put on it, it makes my work looks a lot better. After you've applied the vanish, the eyeglass vanish, and then you've waited for a little bit, put it in the sun or whatever under the fan to get dried. And the next step to do right now, we're just gonna go ahead and peel off, take off our stencil on top of it. So it's very easy, but you got to be very careful too. You just go ahead, take the tip and just take it gently and make sure that you don't spread it all the way out of the shirts. So you just take it out little by little. As you can see, it's an African map. So that's our design on top of our shirts. You can see the shape of African map, and this right here is not gonna wash off. You can wash it in your dryer, you can put it in the machine or anything. So thank you so much for joining us for the tutorials on how to make shirts. You can see that's what I'm wearing right now. You see how pretty it is. You can do whatever you want. You can write names of your siblings, your dad, your mom on the shirt and just make them happy. Put a smile on somebody's face. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.